I'm Rosie Hardy, this is Rosie Hardy Gardening. Today I'm going to be talking about a few Echinacea. Echinaceas are fantastic plants and there's been a lot of breeding so that now you get a good range of colours. You also get a range of heights and you can have completely different style of flower heads to those that you would expect on a normal Echinacea. Let's start off with one of the species. This is Echinacea Pallida. Now, Echinacea Pallida has a very narrow leaf, very hairy leaf. So when you see something that's got hairy stems, hairy leaves, you know it can cope with quite a bit of dry. However, when you put a plant straight into the ground, it cannot cope with the dry straight away. So they will be able to cope with it once they have acclimatized and started to grow in that particular area. So you do need to nurture them initially when they go in. Beautiful, small clump forming. The foliage probably will get to around about 10 inches, 25 centimetres high, and a clump of around about a foot to 18 inches, 30 centimetres to 45 centimetres. It then puts on these fabulous, tall, elegant stems, very, very narrow, and then these fabulous pale pink flowers. And they're always slightly shuttlecock shaped. So you get the cone at the top here, and then you get the petals coming down like this. Very narrow petals on the Pallida, very pale pink. It's a really sweet one. This is used a lot with grasses and that prairie style planting because it's an elegant one. It's not a heavy head. And so therefore it fits in with the grasses. It's a soft type of plant. It's been used in a lot of the breeding. So if you see narrow leaves and you see slightly hairy leaves, you then get this very much narrower petals and shuttlecocks, you know that has been used in the breeding somewhere down the line. So Echinacea Pallida, it is a species, so therefore it can be done from seed, and that is probably the easiest way because this type of Echinacea, the species types, really are not that keen on being divided. Now, Echinacea traditionally were something which you either had in a single flower, which was white or pink, and back in the day it was called Rudbeckia purpurea, not Echinacea purpurea. So Echinacea purpurea is the next species that was utilized and used a huge amount for the breeding. This particular form is a variety. This one is Fatal Attraction. Fatal Attraction has these amazing dark purple stems, lovely big head here of a big bright pink single daisy. The petals come out flat to start with, so it looks like a good big daisy, and then eventually as it goes over it will get a little bit shuttlecock appearance, but not as much as the Pallida. You can see masses of more buds here coming out on the stem. This gets covered in flower. It's a good mid-height variety. So it is going to get to somewhere between 2 and 3 feet. That is 60 to 90 centimetres. And then it does start to clump up at the base and make a bigger plant. It will get to somewhere after about 3 years, probably a clump at the base around about 18 inches, 45 centimetres, and it can be divided once the plant is at least 3 years old. Don't start dividing before that. In their first couple of years, they don't like disturbance. They also don't like to be overcrowded. So if you're trying to sort of put them into a patch where there's a lot of other things growing, they don't tend to do as well. They are a plant which is good going in at the same time as other small plants around them so that they all grow at the same speed because they like a little bit of elbow room. They don't want to be overcrowded by their neighbours. So this is a really good form, strong stems. Echinacea Fatal Attraction. And then if you like tall varieties, this one here is a really, really good form. And this one, I can't pronounce the name. It used to be called Pretty Parasols. I don't know why the name changed, because Pretty Parasols is actually really a good name for it. It is now JS Engeltje, and I don't think I've pronounced that correctly. You will see the spelling when the list gets put up on the video. But this is a really good form. It's got narrow leaves, so I am assuming this has got a bit of Pallida in its breeding. I haven't looked to have check, but because of the narrow leaf and then the tall elegant stems, and here this is why this sometimes gets called the cone flower. You can see this beautiful cone at the top here, and then these elegant petals which drop down and have this lovely pink fading through to this cream at the side here. It will produce lots and lots of these flowers. It can get up to 1.20 meters in height. That's a really good height. It's excellent for the middle of the border, and again with the grasses or with normal perennials, but a really super good tall form. Not going to make a massive amount at the base, somewhere around about 1 foot to 18 inches, so 30 centimeters to maybe 18 inches. That is JS Elgente. Then we go on to the varieties which have been bred to give you lots and lots of colour, and tend to be shorter forms, tend to be front of the border to middle of the border. And isn't this just a fabulous strong colour? This one is Julia. So this is one of the butterfly series. The butterfly series has been bred to give you compactness, but not really densely compact. So they are going to make just above 1 foot to 18 inches in height. So not massively high, but not really squat either. Big, big flowers with this amazing cone. And quite often the cones on these cone flowers are similar colours to the petals, and then they all will go dark eventually. Lovely, big, almost, I don't know, what you'd call this, bright burnt orange flowers. And you can see it's going to have a lot more flower on here. It's a good chunky plant, and this one will grow really well for you. So all of the echinaceas prefer full sun. They're not very happy in a shady area, so full sun is what they want. Reasonable soil, and they need a reasonable amount of water initially to get them established. Once they're established, they will all tolerate slightly drier conditions. Once you see them with these bigger, broader leaf like this, you know they've got Echinacea purpurea in them. They've got the purpurea type of flower on there, and really good. Now you can get these in all sorts of colours. This one here is one called Big Kahuna. Big Kahuna has amazing flowers, and these are semi-double. So it comes out with its initial ring of petals here, and then it has another lot inside. This is an orangey yellow, and it goes up a little bit taller. So this is a great plant. You will see there are all sorts of things. There are ones out there which are double heads, and then they sort of multi-double, and all this sort of thing. Just be careful if you are in the UK, or if you are somewhere where you have a high rainfall or high humidity, those big double flowered ones don't like it, and the flowers will rot off at the top. But if you're in drier areas, they're perfectly fine. So that one is Big Kahuna. These are all divisible, perfectly good plants. And then the last one I've got here is this one here, and this is quite a new breeding, and this is Purpurea Sensation Pink. And again, it has been bred to be a slightly smaller plant, but look at the amount of flower that is going to come up on this plant here. This is only a 2-year-old plant in this container. It has bred to have really good, strong growth. It is bred to have masses of flower. When it comes out into flower, big, really bright pink flowers, and the whole thing gets covered. Not much more than 1 foot to maybe 15 inches high. So a really compact one with a lot of flower, a lot of oomph to this plant completely. So echinaceas, you just have to choose the colour that is right for you. Originally, we only had pink and white. Now we've got all these wonderful oranges and yellows, pinks right the way through. There is not a blue. There are reds, there are yellows, there are amazing double-toned ones as well. So just choose the one that is right for you, choose the height that is right for you, and enjoy them. They are such good pollinator friendly plants, excellent garden plants, or really good in containers. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Please do subscribe to the channel.